be recorded and we can publish
مازن
it
محمد عم
later.
بحكيك.
بسمعه. وينه؟ مين عم بحكيني؟
محمد دلاوة.
هلا محمد وينك؟ ما عم بشوفك انا. لانه مسكر الصوره بس ما في لانه ما بيطلع اذا ما بيفتح الصوره.
انا بس كنت في المصعد وبرخل على المكتب يا حبيبي.
اوكي حبيبي اوكي
اديني دقايق وهاو جوين.
اوكي سر.
Yeah, I'll be visiting Alai Club on Tuesday, not next Tuesday, the Tuesday after. I'll be in Lebanon on Thursday.
Oh,
physically?
This is Shep.
No, you'll be there physically or what?
Yeah, physically, yes.
Oh, good.
Physically.
Okay, good.
Next
Wallah.
Thursday. I'll give you a call.
Wallah, you like risk, huh? You like taking risk, huh, Shep?
What life without risk? No risk, no risk, no gains. No
I
risk,
think
no
taking risks is one of the spirits of Rotarians.
Good. You tell me if you go there and it's okay. Tell me. Just send me a message.
Okay.
How nice.
Yes, love it.
Concerning the risk, there is a few. It's not a theory. It's a quote, which is the highest the risk, the highest the return. I think it goes also with the Rotary spirit, as
Yes.
you are exposed to lots of epidemic situations. You're getting into epidemic diseases. Once you expand your involvement, you get better results. And the best example is the polio for the Rotary.
Yeah.
And I believe that God protects Rotarians because He sees what we do to His creations. So I didn't see a lot of Rotarians, pass this time in percentage, and I think that's because of also God's blessing on the Rotarians. And also Rotarians have increased their own age, their own life, because we're so connected and we're so supportive to each other throughout this pandemic.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is an example today. We're from all over the place. We're just smiling and talking to each other, and that keeps us going.
Yeah.
We don't need no psychiatrists.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I think we will be starting our meeting, and I will hand it over to our Honorary Secretary, and I'm really glad to have this meeting, and we were able to have the acceptance of our distinguished speakers. And thank you, DG Mazen, for being with us and always being a supporter. And for everyone, now this is a personal introduction, and then maybe now I'm going to hand it now over to our Honorary Secretary to start the meeting officially, and I will mute everyone now.
Good evening, everyone, and good morning to some of you as well. It's a pleasure to have so many distinguished participants in this This is the beauty of having Zoom, and there are people from all over the world who can join into this meeting. I'd like to thank all of the speakers who found the time to share with us their thoughts and their ideas on this special day celebrating women. On behalf of Rotary Club of ElTahrir, I would like to express our condolences to our president, Hela Alawi, for the loss of her aunt yesterday and her father almost 3 weeks ago. She would have loved to be with us, but unfortunately the circumstances would not allow it. I'd like to also thank Naveen Abdel Khaliq very much for organizing this event and this meeting and bringing on such distinguished speakers. Great effort, Naveen. Thank you so much for the time and the effort that you put into it. I'd like to pass on the mic to Sandra from RC of Muthaiga to say a few words. Sandra?
Thank you very much, Honorable Secretary Hedi. You will allow me to speak, but I will keep my video off because I might go off because of network issues. We thank you all. Thank you very much, Naveen, for inviting us this evening. Our condolences go to President Hela's relatives for the loss that they've suffered during this period in time. And we're looking forward to today's talk, seeing the strides that women have made from the 50s when we were clamoring to be able to join Rotary, to 87 when we had the first woman president, that was Sylvia. And as we move on, and now we have a president nominee who's Jennifer E. Jones, who will come in as Rotary International President in the coming years. Rotary has truly made serious strides forward. I want to welcome my fellow clubmates from the Rotary Club of Muthaiga. Thank you all from the Rotary Club of ElTahrir for inviting us. Rotary International President nominee Jennifer Jones, IRIVP Valarie Wafer, Trustee Geeta Manek from my club, PDGs MOhamed and Dr. Ahmed on this call, friends and family of Rotary, all joined in this meeting. We just look forward to having a good meeting this evening, and thank you for having us. I'll hand this over back to Honorable Secretary Hedi to take it up.
Thank you, Sandra. I don't want to waste the time. I think we have a lot of interesting speakers and a very interesting topic to discuss. So I will pass on the mic immediately to Dr. Ahmed Saada. Doctor, the mic is all yours.
You need to unmute yourself, Ahmed.
Okay, thank you very much, Hedi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Rotarians and friends from all over the world. First, I would like to thank the Rotary Club of ElTahrir and the Rotary Club of Muthaiga for co-hosting this interesting meeting. Today, we have a very special occasion. We are celebrating International Women's Day. And this particular meeting, or the theme of this meeting, is all about celebrating women in Rotary. Today we have 4 eminent speakers. We have Rotary International President nominee Jennifer Jones. Actually, Jennifer couldn't be with us today because she has another meeting at the same time. So she was very kind enough to send us a pre-recorded video. It's a short video, but I would like to thank her for that. And also we have Rotary International Director and incoming Vice President Valarie Wafer. We have our dear friend, Rotary Foundation Trustee Geeta Manek from Kenya, and our very own mentor, past District Governor MOhamed Delaware from Egypt. Last month, we had the International Assembly. It was supposed to be held in Orlando, as you may all know, but unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we had it virtual. And one of the some of the statistics that we discussed during the assembly showed us that 23% of Rotary members are women, only 23%. And these are global statistics, okay? I'm not talking about a certain district or a certain zone, but these are global statistics. Here in Egypt, in our district, it's almost 50-50, okay? But I know that there are other districts that have even lower number than 23%. So this is something to think about, and we need to do something about it. Rotary International is putting a lot of emphasis on the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I remember, again, during the assembly, Valarie moderated a whole session about creating an inclusive environment. And she put the light, or she shed the light on all aspects of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as you may all know, diversity is one of the core values of Rotary. We will get to this in a minute. Before I introduce our first speaker, may I ask if you would kindly keep yourselves muted?
Ahmed, please unmute yourself.
Probably you muted me, Naveen.
Yes, by mistake.
Okay. Now, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Rotary International President nominee Jennifer Jones, although she's not with us physically, but before showing her video. Jennifer is the founder and president of Media Street Productions Incorporation, a 25-year-old award-winning media company in Windsor, Ontario, in Canada. She is a proud member of the Rotary Club of Windsor, Roseland, in Canada. Her talents have strengthened Rotary reach and impact through many roles, including trustee of the Rotary Foundation, Rotary International Vice President, and co-chair of the End Polio Now Make History Today campaign. Working alongside political figures, celebrities, and global leaders, she uses her voice to raise awareness and hundreds of millions of dollars to eradicate disease, support peace, and provide clean water and sanitation in developing areas of the world. She has received many honors and recognitions, including Rotary's Service Above Self Award and the Citation for Meritorious Service. Jennifer is married to Rotarian Nick Raish, a local family physician. Both of them are very good friends. They share a love of many things, including travel, cycling, golf, and relaxing at their family cottage. And they share a thirst of adventure, which has included cresting the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa. Will you be able to play the video, Naveen? Is it on your, would you be able to share the video? No? Okay.
There's no audio. Naveen, you need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear?
Naveen,
No.
no. Naveen, before you share, on the screen, there is one corner, you have to put audio.
It's on. Can you hear?
No.
No.
Turn on original sound, Naveen.
فين؟
في التوب كورنر على الشمال.
Would you like me to try from my side, Naveen?
Let me see here.
So Naveen, stop sharing, and when you go to reshare, there's some buttons you got to press.
Can you hear now?
Thank you for including.
No.
Yeah.
It's a joy to be able to.
Yes,
You
Yeah,
can
now we
hear it
can.
now?
Yes.
I'm hearing, yes.
Including me. It is a joy to be able to share some thoughts with you today during this important event, recognizing the contributions of women in Rotary. Thank you to each of you for the vital role that you play in making our organization stronger, smarter, and more adaptable to change. As you likely know, diversity has been a Rotary core value for many years, and it is incredibly exciting to see how much energy and enthusiasm has been brought to our organization as we make diversity a part of everything that we do. This has been an amazing year of change. We've had to learn to talk and listen to screens without losing the connections that are dear to us. In doing so, we've broken down barriers of space and time and been able to participate in Rotary events around the world, invite speakers from across the world who broaden our perspectives. The world around us has been changing rapidly for years, and it's wonderful to see Rotary fully embracing the future. We're elevating Rotaractors and seeing them not just as junior partners, but real leaders. We become a more global organization day by day and listen to voices in every time zone. We partner with wonderful allies worldwide and learn so much in our heads and our hearts from the people who we serve. Many organizations these days are talking about diversity and equity and inclusion, but I am so proud of the way that Rotary is determined to make these more than just words. Increasing the diversity of our membership is important, but it's not the whole story. Having more diverse leadership is important too, and the real test for Rotary will come in how we let diverse people all across the organization influence and change us. With every new member, every new partner, every new human being touched by Rotary, our organization changes a little. Our consciousness grows a little bigger, and our hearts expand with it. And that's where you come in. Days like today provide a wonderful opportunity for all Rotarians to think about what we can learn from one another and imagine what this organization can become. The only limit to the amount of good that we can do in the world is our imaginations. And the best way to expand that imagination is to open it up to new perspectives. In Rotary, we're all leaders, and all of our voices are important. The only requirement for having a voice and a role in our organization is accepting and sharing Rotary's values. And the best part of that is the way that your participation gives us a chance to fully live those values. So thank you for joining in this meeting today, and thank you for your continued participation. I am so excited about the great things that we are going to accomplish together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Naveen, for.
Thank you, and sorry for what happened.
That's okay, no problem. Actually, I greatly appreciate the fact that President nominee Jennifer Jones sent us this video, and I always think that Jennifer is one of the most inspiring speakers I've ever met. So I greatly appreciate that. Before going any further, I would like to point out that at the end of the session, we will be having some a section for questions and answers. Okay, so when we come to this part, I would like for you, whoever wants to ask a question or share a comment, you can either raise your hand virtually, like exactly what I'm doing right now. This is the virtual hand raise, or you can just use physical hand, or alternatively, you can type in your questions or your comments in the chat box, okay? But we'll do this at the very end. Now it gives me a real pleasure and a great honor to introduce our second speaker, Rotary International Director and incoming Vice President, Valarie Wafer from Canada. Valarie joined Rotary in the year 2005 in order to fuel her passion for making an impact that matters. Valarie was District Governor of Rotary International District 7070, covering the Greater Toronto area in the year 2013-14. Now she's residing in Collingwood. Her home club is the Rotary Club of Collingwood South, Georgian Bay, District 7010. Valarie has continued to serve Rotary in a number of international roles. She's an international trainer, a member of the host organizing convention committee in Toronto back in 2008, 2018, representative of Rotary International President, and she's an elected member of the Rotary International Board of Directors from the year 2020 to 2022. Valarie has participated and led many initiatives, including a recent mission to Kosovo with Gift of Life International. She has also served as the vocational training team leader to Australia in the year 2010, focusing on youth mental health, a National Immunization Day in India back in 2012, and she has traveled to Kenya and Tanzania to audit long-term Rotary Foundation grant activity. In her non-Rotary life, Valarie had a 27 years career as a restaurant owner in Toronto. The brand Tim Hortons is the most recognized and iconic franchise in Canada. The Wafer's operation was best known for its inclusive hiring practices and accessibility, especially in the area of employment. Valarie and her husband of 33 years, Mark, both of them are Paul Harris Fellows, Bequest Society members, and major donors to the Rotary Foundation. It's a real pleasure and a great honor to have you with us, Valarie. Valarie is going to talk to us about women and senior leadership in Rotary and future plans for women in Rotary. The floor is yours, Valarie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction, Ahmed. And again, thank you so much for the invitation to be with you, and Naveen for reaching out. It's a real honor to be with you today. I do wish it was in person. The temperature is much warmer than it is certainly here in Canada. Anyways, it's an honor to be with you on this very special day. You know, the empowerment of women and advancing women as leaders is not a new topic. We've been discussing this for decades, and I'm pleased that we've made significant strides in our quest for gender parity. It's been 32 years since that epic Council on Legislation decision to allow women into Rotary. But as we know, that was not the beginning of the conversation or movement to allow women into Rotary clubs. It was decades of effort by men and women from all over the Rotary world. In one short year following that decision, by 1990, female Rotarians numbered 20,000. They were just waiting in the wings, and some were breaking the rules and joining anyway with the support of the male Rotarians. Progress never happens as quickly as we all want, but progress is being made. We must not lose sight of the hard work of those who came before us, those advocates and activists who fought over the past 4 or 5 decades. They deserve our praise as we today live in a more just society, and we're here today celebrating. In Rotary, we are ready to embrace change. And this is obvious by us being here today, having this conversation, and the number of events planned today on International Women's Day. A chance to celebrate the incredible efforts of advancing women as leaders. When we look around the world today, in this time of COVID-19, we recognize that the countries that have responded with positive, affirmative action to mitigate the health and socioeconomic impacts are those that have female leadership. And yet there are only 20 countries in the world that have a female head of state. We are aware that females represent less than 20% of executive and board of director positions in corporations, and that not only is gender equity a concern, but also equal pay. The interesting thing is that COVID has reminded us that women, for the most part, work in frontline positions, such as nurses and caregivers, and this has brought about added strain. And at times like this, add in the strain of working from home while juggling the lion's share of childcare, homeschooling, and the housework. There's been a lot of conversation around how this may set women's opportunity to lead back by about a decade. But now, as we're a year into working from home, some studies show very minor but somewhat positive shift in role sharing, like cooking and cleaning. It's not a big change by any means, but one that may help shape perceptions around men applying for parental leave and men playing a more active role that was traditionally biased towards women. This shift gives me hope that the world of women leaders will look different going forward. In Rotary, we have the power and the opportunity to change. The statistics of women in Rotary leadership over the last 5 years is heading in the right direction. Female club presidents over the last 5 years globally have moved from 19% to 24%. 3 years ago, we didn't have a woman on the Rotary International Board of Directors. We now have 35% representation. And next year, 47% of representation on the board. And of course, celebrating our first female president, my country, my fellow countrywoman, Jennifer Jones. So extremely proud and excited that that's going to happen. There are a few ways that we can see change. First, we can set policy. Policy is important to show intent and leadership, but policy without a culture change doesn't gain acceptance and traction. We need to promote and develop female leaders in our clubs and our districts because it all starts there. Policy. In 2018, there were 2 Council on Resolutions brought forward for the RI board to consider around diversity. The first one was to promote women in Rotary. And the second one was to increase the opportunity for women, young leaders, and people of different races and ethnicities to serve in leadership positions. These requests to the board resulted in Rotary International's current diversity, equity, and inclusion statement, which I'm sure you're all aware of and have seen. But we have work to do. This work is a journey that will never end. Following this Council on Resolutions, the Council of Legislation in 2019 passed a policy to direct our organization to build a well-balanced membership that celebrates diversity, and that no club can limit membership based on gender, race, color, creed, national origin, or sexual orientation. The journey continues. In Hamburg, at our international convention, the board announced the goal of women in Rotary and leadership positions of 30% by 2023. Will we make it? In North America, currently we sit at 33%, but in Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, there's only 19% representation of women. And as Ahmed mentioned earlier, globally, we remain at 24%. So will we make it? That's only 2 years away, and we have decades of culture to change in certain parts of the world. But without the goal or policy, there's no intent and no leadership statement. We need to lead by example. But there's hope on the horizon. This is not an issue with our Rotaract members. Women in Rotaract globally have a 45% representation. And in the US, Canada, and the Caribbean, we have the largest female membership in Rotaract at 54%. So we've talked about bringing women into Rotary. Let's talk about how we empower and advance women in leadership and the benefits to Rotary. Just like any organization, we know the benefits of a diverse and inclusive workplace. Diversity brings innovation, improved decision-making, a larger talent pool, diversity of thought, relations with customers and our community. So what's holding us back? At the board level, we've had much discussion based on research and findings, and we've looked at policy. What are the leadership requirements for certain roles, for example? You have to, for example, right now, you have to be in Rotary 7 years before you can become a district governor. 3 more years have to pass before you can be nominated as a director. We should be putting greater weight behind personal or professional skills, an individual's leadership ability. And we need to look at the selection process, both at the international level, but particularly at the club and district level. So I want to take a few moments here just to speak about bias and microaggression. I received an email in the fall from a female Rotarian who applied to be district governor. When her application was received, she got an invitation to interview, but also included was an invitation and expectation that her partner would attend the interview. She found this quite puzzling, as her commitment and belief in Rotary has never interested him. And any success or achievement she's had in Rotary has been exclusive of his involvement. Additionally, it was made clear that her partner was expected to be at all district training and social events. When she inquired as to the reasoning behind this, she was told so that her partner could ask questions about the role his wife was applying for. So let's just take a pause there, as I did when I read the email. How is this empowerment of women? It clearly isn't. We speak about making Rotary more inclusive, but then have bias to married status or expectation that the role is time consuming and you must have the support and you must have a partner at your side for all events. This is one example, but it tells us that our patriarchal history still influences bias and decisions. Any woman who has the leadership to step forward in this role has likely sustained a certain amount of unconscious bias and microaggressive behavior in the past. So as this person indicated to me, why would I accept this in a volunteer capacity? And she asked, is this really who we are? So, our interview panels need to be more diverse. We need representation if we're going to support women, younger members, and those from underrepresented groups in leadership positions. We also need to take a look at the requirements and responsibilities so that working professionals can hold them. Why, for example, do we ask or make it mandatory or the expectation that district governors need to visit every club and make the same speech? I think this year has shown us a new way of doing Rotary, opportunities to connect and connect more often, as we're doing today. Many times Rotarians do not step up for leadership roles because they have not had the opportunity to see Rotary outside their club. Opportunities to serve on committees have been turned down due to commuting time, commitments at work or at home. Diverse leadership in Rotary doesn't cost anything. Think about that statement. Diverse leadership in Rotary doesn't cost anything. Our experiences are equal, but often our opportunities are not. So now's the time to reach out and engage new leaders, Rotarians and Rotaractors in meaningful positions. Mentor, ask Rotarians what they're passionate about and offer possibilities to grow and learn. We are a bottom-up organization. Leaders come from our clubs. They aren't born at the district level. In the future, I hope to see a Rotaractor as a district governor. Why not? They, in fact, already achieved gender parity, which indicates it might be a woman. A recent survey asked if the current path to becoming a leader in Rotary is outdated. And not surprisingly, 62% of respondents agreed. The same survey asked the question, how should we select our leaders? And 73% responded selecting our leaders based by results and potential. Now, my own Rotary journey might be unique. Having joined Rotary in 2005, many may believe my journey may have been fast-tracked. Did I have ambitions to become director when I joined? Absolutely not. In fact, it never entered my mind, and I probably didn't even know what a director or a zone was at the time. In 2006, a year after joining Rotary, I was asked to consider joining the board of my club and be the future president, be in line for presidency. And I said, no way, not interested. I just wanted to be a Rotarian, just wanted to learn. But by 2008, I was ready. And I acted as club president 2008, 2009. And before my year was complete, I was asked to be an assistant governor the next year. And in 2013-14, I was district governor. So why am I telling you this? Because each time I said yes, there was somebody tapping me on the shoulder and saying, I believe in you. And this is our role here, everyone today. Recognize leadership in women. promote women, and tap a woman on the shoulder and say, I believe in you. And that's the way we will change and empower women to be future Rotary leaders. So again, thank you so much for having me with you today. And I'm excited to listen to the rest of the speakers. And happy to be here.
Thank you very much, Valarie. Thank you so much for your inspiring talk and presentation. During your presentation, you mentioned that you would like to see a Rotaractor who becomes a district governor. In our district, we have 4 past Rotaractors who became district governors, and I'm one of them. So we have actually three of us are past district governors, and the 4th one is our district governor nominee. Thank you so much, Valarie, and we will keep the questions until the end, if I may. And if you would like to type in your questions in the chat box, please feel free to do that. Now I would like to introduce our next speaker, a very good friend of mine, a very good friend of many Rotarians in Egypt, our friend, Rotary Foundation trustee, Geeta Manek. Geeta is a 2nd generation Kenyan who graduated from business school in the United Kingdom before returning to Nairobi to join the family retail and property management business, which she still runs. Manek joined Rotary in 1997. Her roles have included Rotary Coordinator, Chair of the Health Major Gifts Initiative and of the Joint Committee on Partnership, a member of the Major Gifts Initiative Oversight Team and the Rotary Institute Host Organizing Committee, a Rotary International Training Leader, Lead Facilitator at the Regional Leaders Training Institute, and Rotary International President's Representative. She was also the only female governor of District 9200 before it was divided into Districts 9211 and 9212 back in the year 2012-2013. You also served as her district's coordinator of the Kick Polio Out of Africa campaign. She has led teams of Rotarians to collaborate and coordinate initiatives with organizations such as the Red Cross, the United Nations, and community-based institutions. And in recognition of her humanitarian work, Manek was awarded an honorary doctorate degree of humanities in the year 2019. Manek has been honored with the Service Above Self Award. She and her spouse Kaushik, who served as governor, district governor of District 9200, both of them are Rotary Foundation major donors and benefactors, as well as Big Quest Society members and Arch Club Society members. It's a real pleasure and a great honor having you with us, Trustee Geeta. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed Saada. Good evening, President of the Rotary Club of ElTahrir and my very own club president of the Rotary Club of Muthaiga, my friend Sandra. My friends and family of Rotary, my dear friend, past District Governor MOhamed Delaware, past District Governor Ahmed Saada. Thank you for that elaborate and generous introduction. First, I must say, wow, it's an honor to be on this forum this evening. I've previously spoken on similar forums on International Women's Day. These sessions are always very enriching and very powerful. To be amongst Rotarians far and wide as we are today, who are on the ground, those who are doing real work at the real level, eye to eye, facing the issues of discrimination, issues of disparity and issues of exploitation against women every single day. So thank you for the courage and thank you for your work. Know that we see you, that we choose to see you, and more that we come together. That means a lot to me. I'm equally humbled to share this platform with other very prolific Rotary personalities, such as our Rotary International President nominee, Jennifer, and our Vice President-elect Valarie, Director Valarie, and of course, past District Governor MOhamed Delaware. Of course, you know, you've all presented in your districts and in very distinct leadership capacities. I am really blessed and privileged to call all these people my friends. And having worked with these great women in different platforms, I must not overlook my dear friend, Navin, who took the arduous responsibility of being and bringing all of us together this evening. You know, it really feels like a family get together today. I know so many of you on the screen, and I'm scared of naming somebody because I'll leave somebody out. I have always carried very fond memories of Egypt with me, especially when I came to the conference in Aswan, and the second time when I came for the presidential visit. So today, it's truly great to have this joint meeting between my home club and the Rotary Club of ElTahrir, which brings us in Africa, so far as we are geographically, brings us much closer. I would even reach out further and encourage all our members, our friends who are on the screen tonight, please exchange your contacts and your details so we can, you know, stay in touch and partner with different initiatives. Those who know me well will know that I like to brag about my club as being the hottest club on the continent of Africa. I truly believe this. My club is very strong. It's a very effective club. My members are very dedicated. They are very compassionate. However, I'm going to be very careful today. I'm not going to say a lot about my club because I know that the Rotarians in Egypt are amazing too. And so my bragging will be toned down completely today. But today is not about my club or your club. Today is more about the clubs, how we all come together. It's about everyone's club. It's about Rotary and, you know, the common purpose we come together in ensuring that we break those glass ceilings that have been broken before us, but we need to continue the effort and give more and more access to those who need it most. Allow me briefly to re-emphasize that the function of our Rotary Foundation is to enable Rotarians to uplift and elevate their communities locally and globally. The mission is not for any one gender, but it supports every Rotarian, be it men or women, who identify needs and gaps in their communities and passionately want to serve to address those challenges. But to speak more relevantly to today's subject matter and the issue at the core, and what resonates to me about Rotary International and its foundation is the opportunities that it brings to the world. It showed us, see how men and women come together, shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, and their abilities are equally valued in the community of service. And that, I think, bring about so much response and attention to ourselves as Rotarians. It's astounding that we are still even today discussing the subject of women. And so it now becomes our new drumbeat and our calling card. In a way, we carry ourselves in the communities and in the projects should in fact be reflective of the ideas that we subscribe to. In line with the theme for this International Women's Day this year, choose to challenge. We must all equally challenge ourselves as Rotarians to amplify and recognize the strength, the power, the fortitude, and self-worth of women, ensuring that we actively seek out those passive voices within the projects and raise them up, giving them equal voice and equal opportunities. Trust me, you will be amazed at the output that we can achieve. This is the power of our organization, which actively promotes from community to community, demonstrating that even women can take charge and take on leadership roles. This noble act of what our motto of service above self is all about, what we live up to every day. So why do Rotarians need to coin their support for women in particular? Well, I'm an ardent believer, and perhaps an old-fashioned one. And maybe many, many may agree or even disagree that women in many societies, especially in Africa and Asia, traditionally bear the burden of rearing and raising communities and the citizens. In so doing, these women end up becoming the load bearers and bearing the brunt of war, conflict, and communal strife and disruptions. Through such nurturing characteristics, we predominantly find that women have been nurses and cooks and cleaners, mothers such as, looking back on all this, it seems that women's roles were constrained. Women have no doubt come a long way from these traditional roles. The fact that we are celebrating the role of women in our society today clearly demonstrates that a lot of work still needs to be done. So Rotarians go out every day and identify the areas in which they feel needs to be addressed. And so it happens, no matter which area of focus of Rotary Foundation you examine, you end up supporting women. Perhaps it's because over recent years, we have identified and learned more about gender disparities. These disparities and inequalities have been around for generations, as Valarie has talked about. But due to no deliberate fault of either men or women, it's just been that way, and it's just how it has been and how we have accepted it. So don't take my word for it, friends. Just look within yourselves and amongst yourselves. And for those in this forum, I am talking particularly from my own point of reference and looking at the women of Africa. You will note and appreciate the women on this continent indeed have silent power. And let us come together to empower that voice. From our position of good fortune or privilege, we can see how women on our continent put the country's needs before theirs, as well as the needs of her people in the sense of keeping them safe, sheltered, protecting them from the realms of conflict. And those of our parents' generations, having been born and brought up on the continent, while we may have the drive and self-determination to pave our own virtuous paths away from the oppression and brutalities of colonization, these efforts are often plagued by very troublesome and disturbing leadership. So we have seen plenty of regional political takeovers. We have seen our fair share of unstable governments, which more than often result in oppression, assault, attack, on protection of women, little girls. We have seen such scenarios many a time, and as I'm talking, this is still going on. We have also seen what it takes to break the cycle is when women take over the helm. So let us draw strength and inspiration from these women who came before us, who borne the brunts of the struggles to reach us and take us this far. From these silent heroes who stood in front of the militias, with loaded guns, saying enough is enough. We need a better place for our children and their children. I may be somewhat naive, but I don't believe that it was a main game plan of the men to keep the women in a subservient role. With education came the deeper understanding of the disparities, the inequalities, and the access to health and education. Women have traditionally played those roles of homemakers. So even to light a fire, she would have to go out and fetch the firewood or to fetch the clean, safe water for cooking and all the chores for the rest of the day. Women have always been the bridge builders in the communities. So it was very imperative for women to maintain peace and avoid conflict, because they inherently know that conflict always disrupts progress. So the role of the Rotary Foundation, the issue of empowering women and for supporting women naturally goes hand in hand. The Rotary Foundation promotes equity, equality, and fairness, and all the qualities and values of our four-way test. According to some statistics from United Nations, please indulge me and allow me a moment to shock you. Women perform more than 66% of the world's work. They toil in the farms and produce over 50% of the food for the world, but earn only 10% of the total income. And when it comes to owning property, they don't own more than 1% of property. Women make 2/3 of the 800 million illiterate adults. They say that a child born to a mother who can read is 50% more likely to survive. On an average day, women receive 30 to 40% less pay than men for the same work. Friends, nearly 600 million women live in countries where domestic violence is not considered a crime. Add to that the survey of 10,000 men who were interviewed in Southeast Asian countries. They said that 1 in 4 of these men had confirmed that they'd raped a woman and a girl. If that hasn't shocked you, 25 of those men admitted participating in gang rape. Friends, those numbers are not only shocking, they're not numbing, they're absolutely unacceptable in the 21st century. So Rotarians, as people of action in your daily lives, I reach out to each and every one of you. As you witness such atrocities against humanity, these disparities or inequalities, or just the whole unfair system, it beckons to us as Rotarians to at least raise our voice, bring attention to the matter. With service being in our DNA, we should naturally listen to that drumbeat as it is our responsibility. So the Rotary Foundation has already embraced the calling card and the beat of this drum in all the areas of focus and service. But it cannot do that. Rotary Foundation is an enabling organization. It is left to you and me as Rotarians on the ground to drive these action points. I'm confident that passionate Rotarians, no matter what they do, when they see inequality, inequity in whichever sphere of work they are in, they know that Rotary Foundation is ready to talk the talk and walk the walk with you, whether it is in initiatives of literacy or education for girls. Know that you are in fact educating the community. Education for all makes sense. More often than not, it is the woman who takes care of her health, the health of her children, and the entire household. Education is an age-old empowering initiative which gives dignity in all spheres of life. You know that the foundation also supports women through peace building. Apart from the fact that the world constitutes of 50% of the women, they are therefore very critical in peace building because women are the central caretakers of families, communities, and all who have been affected. So logically, they equally need to be actively engaged. Again, so empowering and supporting women in peace studies is another area where Rotary Foundation supports women. Friends, we all know about the new focus area of environment. Women work in the forests, they work in the fields. They are affected by climate change like all of us. So it's reasonable that Rotarians need to assist women in the field because they are the ones who are bringing the food home. Previously, Rotarians used to write grants as part of another area of focus. But now, as you know, the trustees of the foundation were constantly getting requests about the environment as its own focus area. And here we are starting July 2021. This next Rotary year, Rotarians can apply for grants in this particular area of environment, which is critical for our survival. Maternal and child health with women and children, another area that is so important to Rotarians to support mother and child. We all know what can be prevented, should be prevented in terms of disease. We cannot have children under the age of 5 dying simply because the hospital is ill-equipped. You all know about child marriage. As you know, this is a real thing. It's not something that took place decades ago. It's happening today as we talk. Every child marriage brings more indignity, more abuse, and it's real. This is a real issue. Of course, economic empowerment is another area where we feel that 15 million girls under the age of 18 are married off for cultural or economic reasons. So the foundation again supports Rotarians in ensuring that women have full participation in society. Rotarians want to see women having an effective participation in civil, political, social, all spheres of life. They want to restore equal opportunities in every sphere for women. Of course, you know the most important area, none is more important than the other, but still water is life. And this is where it's critical to support women with safe drinking water, adequate sanitation and hygiene facilities at home and in places of work and education. It is disproportionately harder for women and girls to lead a safe, productive, healthy life. Across low-income countries, mainly on our continent and in many parts of South Asia and America, women and girls have the primary responsibility of fetching wood and cooking and water for cleaning. So that's another area that we need to make sure that marginalization does not add to more indignity and insecurity. Friends, what is your take-home message for today? Today is not just a public relations exercise to tick the box and say yes to our governor, that as Rotarians, we did recognize and celebrate International Women's Day, but rather it is a day today for us to echo the drumbeat, and as Rotarians know that we firmly believe that we need to empower women, to give them their full social and economic dignity. Let these values and ideals be reflected in our work as Rotarians, our social lives, and in our projects. Let us choose always to challenge ourselves to do more. And as always, you know, the Rotary Foundation is there to walk this journey with you. So friends, family of Rotary in different parts of the world, take any district grant, any global grant. Each grant will be addressing a need that empowers women and the entire community. Thank you, Rotarians of all over the world, for giving me your time and ears, and especially the Rotary Club of ElTahrir and Muthaiga, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Geeta. That was really inspiring. You walked us very smoothly through the 7 areas of focus. But at the same time, you shared with us some serious numbers and statistics, and they're really serious, and we need to think about them very seriously and not take them lightly. I liked when you said that the women are very critical in peace building, and I totally agree with you. Thank you so much, Geeta, for your excellent presentation. Thank you so much. I received a message from our friend Patrick Coleman, who was commenting about that we as leaders, we should lead the way. And he mentioned that his wife, his daughter, and 3 of his sons joined Rotary. So thank you, Patrick, for you're doing a wonderful job growing Rotary in your area. Thank you very much. Now I would like to introduce my mentor and the mentor of almost all Rotarians in Egypt, the Endowment and Major Gifts Advisor in Zone 22, past District Governor MOhamed Delaware. PGG Delaware is also serving not only as an MGA and a past District Governor, but he's also serving as the Rotary International representative at the Arab League, which is a very challenging post. Past District Governor Delaware served Rotary International in many aspects. He was governor of District 2450 back in the year 2002, 2003, and that was before the district was divided into 2 districts. He served as Rotary Coordinator, Regional Rotary Coordinator, Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, a member of the Peace Fellows Committee from the year 2016 to 2019, Zone Institutes and Gets Trainer, Presidential Conference Chair and Convener, and also Zone Institutes Organizing Committee Chair and Co-Convener. MOhamed Delaware is recognized as a major donor, a benefactor to the Rotary Foundation, and a recipient of the prestigious Service Above Self Award. I think I need to share this presentation from my computer.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Naveen, can you?
Okay, I will make you host now. One second.
Okay. Just let me know when.
Okay. You're host now.
Okay. There you go. Can you see the presentation? Okay. The floor is yours, Past District Governor Delaware.
Thank you, dear friend Ahmed, dear friends in Rotary, club presidents. Happy International Women's Day to you all, and good day, evening, good morning, wherever you are. I'm very privileged and honored to be among this distinguished panel and speakers. I thank the Rotary Club of Tahrir and Saada for the invitation. I joined Rotary a long time ago during the all-male era, and I witnessed the development within the Rotary world during the years. And now I am proud to be a member of a Rotary Club with over 70% of its members are women. I was asked by Past President Naveen to share with you the impact of our Rotary Foundation for women projects and women grants related projects. In the slide you have in front of you, it shows the impact of our Rotary Foundation as a whole for the Rotary year 2019-2020. And as you can see, most of this amounts were granted to polio eradication, followed by global grants and then district grants. Next. Out of these grants, you can see that maternal and child care health was one of the bottom lines. Yes, there are projects which are related to disease, which are related to women, but from my point of view, there wasn't much done to promote women development and empowerment. And I will follow the line of thinking and the call of actions of my dear friend, Trustee Geeta. Next, please. Next. Next. No, I think you have the old presentation, Ahmed. This is not the right slides. I'm sorry for that.
This is the only one you sent me, so.
Okay, then close the slides and I'll just speak. This is not the right slides.
Okay.
Eleanor Roosevelt said once, what you don't do can be a destructive force. In other words, apathy is deadly. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, warns that emerging and developing economies will converge to advanced economy income levels at less than 2/3 the pace it had predicted a decade ago. Really, change is needed. There is no better time for Eleanor Roosevelt's rallying cry. Trustee Geeta asked for an action, Rotarians' action. Women are a huge untapped source of economic growth. Unlocking their full potential will require concerted action by both governmental and non-governmental sectors. Rotarians women have shared and inspired others during the International Women's Day hosted by the World Bank. They answered the question, what motivates everyday women to do extraordinary things? To positively change the lives of people halfway around the world while inspiring so many folks at home.
3 Rotary members answered that question at this celebration of the International Women's Day. Razia Jan, Deborah Walters, and Ann Lee Hassi told their personal stories and explained what inspired them to build girls' school in Afghanistan, assist people living in Guatemala, garbage dumps, and lead more than 24 teams.
انت عمال ستوب سبيكينج
بقى اكل في البيت والكلام ده ولا بيعمل حاجه
سيف درايفنج مود
مع الشمس مع التاني نزل ووتر تنشنز.
Could you please mute?
انا عايزه اعرف هل
Could you please mute?
مش عارفه ازاي.
بصي
Thank you. These Rotary members, I'll repeat, 3 Rotary members answered that, and they assist people living in Guatemala City garbage dumps and lead more than 24 teams to immunize children in Africa and Asia. Yes, we have more Rotary women Rotarians in our clubs, but we need to take more action regarding women in our community. As Trustee Geeta said, we can utilize the Rotary Foundation, work all together, and I seize this wonderful opportunity of today, of so many people from all over the world joining this meeting, that we join hands, not only the women in Rotary, but all of us as Rotarians. I believe that one solution lies with women. Specifically, we need to bring more women into the workforce and developing and emerging markets. Over the last 3 decades, women participation in the global workforce has hovered at around 51%, dipping as low as 20.1% in the Middle East and North Africa, where women are engaged in employment and they tend to be concerted in lower productivity sectors, often working in underpaid and unprotected conditions. Bringing more women into productive work is also a powerful anti-poverty device, since research shows that women plow the majority of their income back into the health and well-being of their families. I was privileged to work in a similar project to what Grameen Bank does, the Bank of the Poor, in a project which has been going on since 1985 in Alexandria, Egypt, of a revolving loan funds. And after 1 year of this project, we stopped giving these revolving loans to men and only gave it to the women. And now, after almost 35 years, our return is 99.8%. And the incredible work done by these women have made them able to raise their children, carry the load of their families, and be a productive factor and element in the community. I also believe there is a special role to be played by women entrepreneurs, and particularly women Rotarians who owns small businesses and medium-sized enterprises. This could be the focus of the work of Rotarian women all over the world to empower women in developing and emerging markets, to grow their enterprises beyond the micro level, because the SME sector has huge potential to drive job creation and fuel growth in local economies. Facts and figures, women economical empowerment benefits. Women economic empowerment is central to realizing women's rights and gender equality. Secondly, empowering women is in the economy and closing the gender gaps in the world of work are key to achieving the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development. When more women work, economies grow. Increasing women and girls' educational attainment contributes to women economic empowerment and more inclusive economical growth. Women economic equality is good for business. To conclude, empowerment of women for national development has been recognized worldwide. Various national and international studies have been undertaken to examine the effectiveness of their contribution. The findings of these studies, as well as those of the development experts, have stimulated further concerns for the role of women in development. Women who constitute a great percentage of the world population are not making corresponding impact on development process. Instead, they are increasingly becoming passive actors in the development process. This has become a matter of serious intellectual concern. Consequently, the need for empowering women through literacy, socioeconomic, and political progress is in undeveloped world has become absolutely a necessity and essential. This equality becomes a vital reason for the Rotarians as a whole and the Rotarian women in particular to collaborate worldwide in projects targeting women development and empowerment, and utilize the Rotary Foundation programs to maximize the impact of these projects. Several women in Rotary conferences have been held in the European region in the last 5 years. They were launched by past Rotary International Director Cornelie Denka. For example, in Romania, Hungary, and Czech Republic. In 2019, the first Rotary Women's Philanthropy Weekend was held in Oslo, Norway, to bring Rotarian women together around support of our Rotary Foundation and partnership for projects empowering women. And a call for action from my side. Why not considering hosting such an event in Egypt, where there are more female Rotarians per capita than any other district in Europe, Africa region? I propose that, and I propose to all the attendees to have a women conference for women empowerment in Egypt, Cairo, in March 8th, next year, 2022, celebrating the Women International Day and calling for an action and having an aside a small project fair targeting projects for women empowerment and women development, where all Rotarians can join, starting as of today, to collaborate in projects in that aspect. Our action as Rotarians, the action of women in Rotary for the women of development and for the women economical growth will not impact only the women, but will impact our communities and our nations. I thank you again. I thank you, the Club of Tahrir, and I thank the Club of Madijta for this opportunity. And I wish you all a good evening.
Thank you very much, Past District Governor Ahmed Delaware. Thank you for your input and for your great ideas. I can't agree more. Let's work on preparing something and organizing an event or a district a conference, a women's conference in Egypt in the year 2022. Maybe I would like to mention here that Rotary International President-elect Shekhar has one of his priorities is empowering girls. So again, this was the main focus of what we have been discussing for the last hour or so. I received a message from District Governor nominee, Dr. Krishna Kumar, who is mentioning that it is past 2 a.m. in Malaysia. So thank you very much for being with us at this late hour of the night, or maybe in the early morning. Thank you very much. Now I would like to open the floor for discussion. If you have any questions, you can either raise your hand or type in your question in the chat box. I don't see any hands.
I think Mo Bakra is there, so I'm going to unmute Mohamed Bakr.
Okay.
Thank you all for the lovely speech, and it's really very nice and very inspiring. As long as we have here in this meeting more than a Rotary leader, why not to propose that to making the eighth area of focus, which is women empowerment, which is separate from maternal and child health, especially that women are leaders, builders. Thank you, Dr. Saad.
Okay, thank you, fellow Rotarian Mohamed, for this comment. And we have a question from Past District Governor Shab Ilawar. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Good morning and congratulations to all our enthusiastic women on Rotary. This question is for Vice President, and congratulations on your new assignment, Valarie, Director Valarie. And that's the question for you, for yourself. Knowing about all the changes in Rotary and what we're going into, maybe also regionalizing of Rotary, the old style of doing business, and this pandemic has showed us that it could be done in a lot of different ways and more innovation ways. If Rotary have to go into that and regionalizing, this probably would take the Council of Legislation probably between 4 and 5 years, if it will ever realize. So do you think Rotary will change the Council of Legislation to make it as a year? If you have to put a proposal that you think that will be feasible for Rotary to change Council of Legislation to do that? This way we can keep up with the speed that Rotary is going in and the innovation, especially with women and Rotary Act joining in. Thank you.
Okay.
No, thank you so much for the question. And you know what? There's never been a more exciting time to be part of this organization. I would imagine that this is 110 years of celebrating women empowerment. But I can imagine that even 3 or 4 years ago, the conversation at one of these events would have been what we need to do. And what's exciting is where we are today, as I mentioned, with the gender parity on the board and the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation that we're having, not only at the board level and on our task force, which Geeta is the trustee liaison, so happy to work with her on that. I'm the chair of that committee. But we're also seeing in this opportunity of COVID that we can do Rotary in a very different way, and that we were forced really to adapt and to move in this way. And what it's really done is it's allowed that change to happen a lot faster than it would have if we hadn't been locked down for a year. It's also allowing the people who were probably most resistant to change to realize, hey, it's not so bad. You know, this is really working. In fact, we're seeing people we haven't seen at our club meetings for a long time showing up. We're inducting new members. We're starting new innovative club models because of this new way that we're meeting. So I think that the conversation about where we need to go as an organization has been springboarded in this last year. And that's really exciting because, you know, our organization is 116 years old. And I'm not sure the last time we really looked at our governance model and our structure and the roles that, you know, and the expectations around those roles, and recognizing that that Rotary is different around the world. You know, it's very different in North America than it is in Japan. not only by demographics, but by the way we do Rotary. So, maybe it's time for us to take a look at regionalizing how we do Rotary. What is the value proposition of Rotary in a number of these countries? And so I think it's exciting that we are looking at this. Yes, any dramatic change will probably change our constitution and our bylaws. It will need to go to the Council on Legislation. But the exciting thing is that the conversation is happening, and it was happening before we got springboarded into where we are today from COVID. So, with any great change management plan, it takes a lot of thought process. It takes a lot of case scenario look and that timeline of where we want to go and the outcomes of what it's going to look like. So I'm really excited to be part of the board at this point. We're probably seeing some of the biggest change in our organization than we probably have in the 116-year history. And I think having more women at the table is changing that conversation as well. And that's another reason why I think that we're, really heading in the right direction. Again, 3 or 4 years ago, we would have been talking about how to get women on the board. Today, we're talking about, the power of women and how we need to empower future women leaders as well in this organization.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shab, and thank you, Valarie, for your kind input. I have a question in the chat box from President Jacqueline Wilson. She says, violence against women is a big issue. How can we measure success of any project in this area? Any thoughts about this?
Okay.
Let me give it a try, PTG, Doctor. The only way we are going to be able to really measure an accurate measurement is when we all speak up. Because in many societies, when there is abuse or when there is indignities on women, they're never reported. And if they're reported, the person who's reporting is always scared of the repercussions. So measuring of this can only come from a professional level where complaints have been lodged or people like us have identified, like the social services identify bruises on a child or something. So we really have to be more alert. But I'm not sure if I know the answer of accurate measurement. Maybe we have an expert, maybe Valarie would have another idea, but I think that this is such a difficult subject because it goes on behind closed doors, it doesn't happen in public. And even when a person is abused at work, it is done in such a subtle way that only the person who is experiencing it feels it because it's constant and consistent. But the people around them don't normally see it happening because it doesn't happen all the time in front of them. So this is a tricky one, but we all have to be alert and we have to listen and we have to look out more than we do normally.
Great, thank you very much, Trustee Geeta. And I think it differs from one country to another, from one culture to another. So it's really hard to generalize an answer to this question. Okay, Mohamed Bakr, do you have another question or did you just forget your hand raised?
No, kindly, Dr. Ahmed, I want to add my thought to Geeta's comment that concerning the how can we measure the violence against women? I think it won't be that accurate, especially that in some societies there is no accurate statistics of this issue specifically. Maybe it refers to social cultures and stuff like that. But we have to empower that women report their abuse, regard whatever the reason is, and making hotlines or something like that related to a specific organization or institution for reporting such violences.
Okay, thank you very much, Mohamed.
In every country as possible.
All right, thank you very much, Mohamed. We have several questions that relate to the same issue. It's not directly related to the topic of today's meeting, but maybe if Director Valarie can just touch on this. A lot of colleagues are asking about the committee of Shaping Rotary's Future Committee. We heard that past President Barry Rassin is working on this committee, and a lot of rumors are coming out that there will be some major changes in the structure of Rotary worldwide. So would you be able to just give us a little bit some thoughts about this without many details about it? Thank you.
Sure, thank you. You know, it really is speaking to my previous comments to answer the previous question about the change we're seeing in Rotary and how we need to look at the governance structure and the roles. So this conversation began, I believe, in past President Ian Risley's year, where we were looking at the fact that we hadn't reviewed our governance, and as we talked about starting new clubs and elevating Rotaract and even introducing new innovative club models, we had to really take a step back and see how our governance structure was going to support many more clubs, or how we should lead in Rotary. And so that's where this conversation is coming from. And so the committee has been working for the past 3 years. In the new Rotary year, I'll actually be the liaison to that committee. So again, exciting conversations, a lot of focus group work that's been done just to really take a look at where we might need to be if we are successful in growing Rotary, and we're at President-elect Shaker's goal, each one bring one, and we're at 1.3 million members. We need to be able to support our membership, and we need to support our new innovative clubs. And so, as I said, Rotary looks different around the world. And so that's really what this committee is doing. And right now, they're still in the development stage and talking about potential pilots, but it'll be very small scale.
Okay, thank you very much, Valarie. There is one, Naveen, do you have a question? I'm sorry, I thought I saw.
No.
Oh, okay. You were playing with your hand like this. Okay. Okay, now I have a question. It's a pretty sensitive question. Now with all the pandemic issues and the situation, I mean, the pandemic is hitting the whole world and the whole globe. I heard during the International Assembly, I heard President Holger and President-elect Shekhar, they were talking about the fact that we should not be holding meetings in person. And everything now is virtual. And even the board of directors, you're having your board meetings virtually. So my question is this just a recommendation from Rotary International leaders, or is there something solid or a solid decision that prohibits Rotary leaders from organizing conferences or seminars or training activities in person? And I'm not against virtual. In fact, I'm against the in-person, putting into consideration the circumstances. Now it's very risky, and I'm totally against in-person, but I would like to know, is there a solid decision about this matter, or is it just a recommendation?
So we, as a board, have been meeting virtually, and we're meeting more often than our 4 or 5 times a year regularly scheduled. And so this is on our agenda at every single meeting, and we do review it. But as a global organization, we always have to look to any risk that may come to our organization. And that's your #1 responsibility as a board member. So as a global organization, we made the decision that there will be no travel by any director, trustees, before the end of this Rotary year. And it was also, the decision was made that any district governor funded travel will not occur as well, will not be supported. That doesn't mean that you can't have a Rotary Club meeting in person. Obviously, you're going to listen and adhere to the local health authorities and the recommendations of your regional and local health authorities. What we're saying is that as a global organization, we need to protect our Rotarians. We need to protect our reputation, and we need to be very careful to be responsible, to not put ourselves and other Rotarians at risk in our community as well. So, you know, it was a very tough decision. It was the right decision. I think it shows leadership, and it was a broad-based decision. I know not popular around the world, but it was needed. So the board fully supported that decision. We do continue to review it. We made the decision to have a virtual convention and virtual IA, as you know, Ahmed. So, you know, it's here in Canada, for example, I probably won't get my vaccination until late summer. And so it's so different around the world that we had to make a broad statement.
Great, thank you so much, Valarie. Any other questions or comments that you would like to share? Okay, I see no hands up. All right, so I think we arrived to the end of our session today. I would like to thank our distinguished speakers.
I think that we have sorry, Ahmed, I think we have Paul.
Oh, okay, yes? I'm sorry, Paul. I didn't see your hand up. Okay, go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry. And then
PDG Nijad.
And then our dear friend PDG Nijad.
Yes.
Please, Paul.
And then Sharmila.
Okay.
Okay. So not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
The floor is yours, Paul. Can you unmute yourself, please? Paul?
He's gone.
Okay. Okay, now let's take a question from our past district governor, Nijad.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you, BDG Ahmed. I'm really honored to be among all my friends here and amazing speakers. I want to a comment and a question maybe together to shed light on the question of violence against women.
Yes.
And what Trustee Geeta said, that we have to listen. I think not only to listen, we as Rotarian, we have to look in our communities and we have to do some assessment, some research. And of course, I mean, I don't know, we are hearing every day so many stories, especially from our Arab countries here. I don't know in the other places. The circumstances, what we are living, the wars, the damage in our societies, what's happening from all outside and inside the countries, letting the economic situation so bad. Imagine in Iraq, I want somebody to tell me what we can do. A man selling his daughter to get some money for gambling and for whatever he wants to do. And the man who is buying these girls is not only one, he has a group of girls. He put them early morning in the streets as a beggars. And every one of these girls, she has to get so much 100,000 or whatever Iraqi dinar, which is, I mean, these days, the rate's very down. And in the evening, if she didn't get what he asked her to make, he will, I mean, punish her and he will beat her and do many things. I mean, I don't know what father he is and what man he is, but these girls, and I saw some really videos, it made me cry. And I was so much, you know, I mean, so this is only one case, but I have many cases, not only Iraq, in some other places. I don't know in Africa or on other things. So what Rotary can do is only to listen, only to see what's going on. We have to find out more and how can we help? I mean, maybe we have to put our hand with the governments in our countries. It's a very bad situation, really. So, I mean, I don't know. If Rotary can do something, somebody can tell us, or it's a comment and a question. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Post District Governor Nijad. This is a very bad situation, and sometimes we take good things in life, we take them for granted. But again, I don't know, Trustee Geeta, do you have any thoughts about what Rotary can do in situations or in problems like this?
I just think it's about creating awareness, advocacy. I think those are the first steps that we should do. If we know for certain, then we can take action as individuals or groups. But when it comes to different governments, different scenarios, like I said in my talk earlier, that violence against women is not even a crime in 60 or 70 countries. So it depends, but we have to highlight the issues. We have to do, even if it's going to the church leaders, the mosques, the community leaders, somehow we have to be alert and we have to voice our opinion. We have to be bold and courageous. We can't just look the other way, that it's not my problem, this is an internal family matter. Because when that person commits suicide or when that person is harmed, where life is at stake, then we're all in trouble. And we don't want to wait till then. So it's better to, try the first softer approach of advocacy and make sure that, everybody knows their responsibility. It's not just the responsibility of Rotarian civil society issue. This is throughout the board. So we have to take action. But as Rotarians, we say we want to hold our head high. Well, this is one of those places where we have to be bolder than we are. And we have to go out and tackle it in a way that, it's beneficial to all concerned.
Maybe we have to put a combined effort, between the Rotarians and the governments or the authorities, in each country. As you said, awareness is very important, So we have to speak out. We have to encourage, these girls to talk, to come out, Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you very much. Maybe this is one of the reasons that made Rotary International President-elect Shekhar put one of his priorities as empowering girls and addressing all these issues and all these problems that girls are facing all over the world. So yeah, it's a serious problem and we need to think about it and find a decent solution for that. We have a question from Sharmila. Yes, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm part of the recently approved Rotary Action Group for Menstrual Health and Hygiene. And our aim is to increase more women members along the way when we create awareness on menstrual hygiene and health. And we're hoping to attract more non-Rotarians into this project that we are going to be doing across all the countries that Rotary is in. Rotary is in 200 countries, and we would like to be increasing membership in each country that we are in. Just wanted to add that for women membership. So power to more women.
Thank you for sharing this, Sharmila.
Thank you.
And maybe this reminds me of what President-elect Shekhar mentioned about Rotary Days. He is very interested that all Rotarians or all the Rotary clubs all over the world would have Rotary Days. And one of the conditions of having Rotary Days is including or involving at least 25% of non-Rotarians in these Rotary service days. And this is to attract new members and to find prospective donors and many things. So what you have just mentioned goes very well with President-elect Shekhar's thoughts and vision. Naveen,
this time I want to say something. Just we have Naima Saghir is with UN and with here in Egypt, and one of the things I believe she can shed light on what we were, because she was disconnected for a while, so and she missed the part regarding women. And one of the things that PDG Nijad said, I know that we have a club in Erbil, Iraq, and maybe this is where we can start supporting more the club, because they have a lot to do and have more clubs, not only in Erbil, but in the other sectors of Iraq, because I believe that working together will make a difference. And maybe Naima, Dr. Naima can say something regarding violence against women, and maybe how the two institutions can work together, the WHO and the Rotary within this area, especially WHO and Rotary work together regarding polio. So maybe this is another issue that we can start elaborating on more in areas that are needed, especially we're talking out as Trustee Geeta said, it's not always easy to talk out violence issues that happen with women in many countries, not only in Egypt. So maybe maybe Naima can say something. I know that we have run beyond the time, but this is it. And Naima is a Rotarian in the Rotary Club of Adliya, Bahrain, but she is currently a resident in Egypt. So.
Thank you very much, Dr. Naveen. Thank you, Rotarian Dr. Ahmed, Saada. I was very pleased to hear the three speakers. It was almost when Rotarian Geeta was finishing that my computer for somehow it has crashed. I'm not sure what's going on, but I really enjoyed the three presentation. And with Rotary International, we do have a very close collaboration. And my Director General, Dr. Tedros, has been very supportive on our work with the Rotary. So in terms of the polio, we need to scale it up. I'm sure you are following that there is a risk of now polio virus circulating in the environment in some of our countries. And that's still a challenge besides what's going on in Afghanistan and Pakistan. I really was impressed that you have addressed now the violence, and especially violence against the woman. Our statistics is showing that 1 in every 3 women around the world are suffering from either from physical, verbal, or psychological abuse as a violence happened. With COVID-19, the domestic violence has increased, and also the women were more subjected to abuse, especially women working in the front line. I was very much inspired by the president coming in, and at the same time by the Valarie speeches and Geeta's, that we need to look into the issue of the violence in the workplace also, especially when it comes to the sectors that are service providers. Rotarians have been taking care of the service and providing the service. My message, these are areas that we can work, especially in gender-based violence. It's becoming a big issue. And gender-based, we are talking about both women and men, but we know that women are more subjected. So this is an area that with Rotarian Dr. Ahmed, that we can, at least in Egypt, start, and we can go move forward, part of our updated memorandum of understanding. I also heard Dr. Najat saying, how can we, Rotarian Najat from Bahrain saying, how can we bring the government with the Rotary in terms of women's leadership? My country, Bahrain, and I work in I am Bahraini, have been demonstrating on how to promote the women leadership. And I would say the young, the youth, because the speakers earlier spoke about investing in the young, and the youth can be also great leaders. And finally, when it comes to Iraq, Iraq is a country that has gone through violence. I have served in Iraq 6.5 years. And in Erbil and Duhok and Suleimaniye, there are opportunities, but also in Baghdad. The women are very strong and they just need a little bit of the push. So I think these are some of the areas that we can invest. The polio, the gender-based violence, and at the same time reaching out with the excellent expertise available internationally. Thank you for this opportunity, and I really, really enjoyed this session. And I'm regretting that I missed it. Next time I will sit in the office all the time till it finishes.
Thank you very much,
you.
May I say something? May I just add a very short comment? Ahmed?
Sadaf, yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, please,
well,
go ahead.
This has been a wonderful evening and a wonderful celebration of International Women's Day to start with. Being an educator, I think educating children should start from even from preschool level on this important issue of violence against women, because that's where it all comes from. Children nowadays are more knowledgeable than their parents, especially in rural areas. So educating them from preschool level. Thank you so much for this evening. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Naima, maybe we had a brief discussion during our foundation seminar a couple of months ago. I think we should have a meeting and see what we can do together. And for our guests joining us today, Dr. Naima is leading the WHO office in Egypt, in Cairo, and she's the head of the mission, and she's working also with the Ministry of Health. So maybe we can arrange a meeting and see what we can do together, the WHO and Rotary, and I'm sure we can come up with some good thoughts about helping our communities in Egypt and in other countries as well. Naveen, do you see any other hands raised?
No, that's it.
Okay. So before,
thank you. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I'd just like to acknowledge the presence of my dear friend, past District Governor Güneş Ertas from Turkey. Just saw him right now, so I'm sorry I did not greet you at the beginning of the meeting. Thank you for being with us, Güneş. And I would like to acknowledge the presence of my very dear friend, past District Governor Abdelhamid Al-Awa, who is also with us. But he is hiding somewhere. I can't see his name, but
and he is one of the Rotary actors who became district governors.
Exactly. Yes, he was a Rotary actor, and then he served as a district governor, one of the most successful district governors of our district. At the end, I would like to thank you all for your participation. I would like to thank Rotary International President nominee Jennifer Jones for kindly sending us her impressive video. I would like to thank Rotary International Director and incoming Vice President Valarie Wafer. Many thanks to our dear friend, Trustee Geeta Manek. Thank you so much, Geeta. And thank you very much, our mentor, past District Governor and MGA, MOhamed Delaware. Thank you for being with us and for your kind presentation. And back to you, Naveen. You can take it from there, or I don't know, Hadi would like to wrap up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you all for your time. And I'd like to thank everyone. And we are looking forward to our incoming international meeting in April. And I hope that we will be discussing maybe what we talked about or what we shed light on in this regarding the regional or the new regions and the future of Rotary, how Rotary would look like. And would be this is maybe where if our incoming Rotary International Vice President will have more time with us next month, maybe, and also with the chair of the committee. So this is where we will have more discussion and more talks and input about how we can see it. And I'd like to thank everyone who is here and for all your time. And maybe I will take it back to our Honorary Secretary, Hadi. And I would like to, as much as we started with condolences to our president, but I'd like to congratulate Hadi because he is the father of the groom. His son got married on Friday. And our Vice President Layla, who is also the mother of the groom. So we have good news in the middle of the sad news, which is the beginning of a new life. And would like to congratulate them and wish their son and a very nice and fruitful and prosperous future. And we will hand it over to our Honorary Secretary to finalize, and thank you all.
Thank you, Naveen. I don't know what else I can add to what everybody has been saying. It's been a pleasure. It's an extremely interesting topic. The speakers have been more than fantastic, sharing their stories and their insights and even their statistics on the role of women. I think it's a topic that's been around with us for a few years now. I think Rotary is leading and should be the leader in resolving the issues of diversity and gender equality. I hope that we do this again more often. I like the idea of next year having a conference on women empowerment. Personally, I would like to push for this idea. Thank you to all the distinguished guests who found the time to share with us their thoughts, and to all the distinguished participants who increased our knowledge and with their questions and their insights, and hope to see you again soon, COVID or not. Thank you. Good night. Morning.
Good night.
Okay.
You are all people of action, and you are peace builders. Thank you again. And I did stream this one on live on my Facebook. The link is in the chat. So this is a great program for your clubs and your district. Thank you again. You're awesome. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Be well, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Naima, nice to see you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Naveen.
And
Thank
I
you,
am
Ahmed.
Naima Al-Qasir.
Thank you. Yeah.
دكتور نعيمة
Thank you. It has
من
been a pleasure.
البحرين Rotary Club of عدلية من البحرين. We are very proud of her.
الله يخليك. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. مع السلامة. And I'm proud of working with all of you.
Thank you,
Ahmed. We see you next week.
شكرا دكتور أحمد. شكرا كثير. نيفين thank you.
سلامة جميلة.
إن شاء الله يبلغ حبيبتي نعيمة يبلغ.
Thank you everyone from all over the place. Thank you.
وحميد والجميع.
It's wonderful.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, darling.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.